Hey, hope you're doing well. It is Sunday evening, 5 o'clock. Another video I'll knock out today. This one I thought would be nice. It's just something different. Carrots I came across, Pinterest. I'm not sure, it doesn't really go anywhere from Pinterest, but there are a lot of cool stuff on Pinterest. And I kind of like this stuff. I like this kind of style. But I really like this. I thought, nice and simple. Let's try to recreate this in Blender. I'm not sure what they used to create it. Doesn't really say. But let's get started. So I'll push this to the side. So this one reference on the right, and here on my left screen is Blender. And what we're going to do is delete everything. We don't need none of this. Boom, empty scene. We're going to add a mesh, and we will add a cylinder. Oh, should we start? Yeah, let's start with a cylinder. And let's scale this up nice and big, like so. And let's just kind of shape this to look more like a carrot. So we're going to go to edit mode. We're going to select this bottom face down here, and we're going to scale this in. Now I want to inset this face down here and underneath. There we go. And then scale this in and do the same at the top. So we're going to inset this face like so and scale this up, and one more inset, and let's kind of break this down like this, and then press S to scale this in a little bit more. We can tweak this after. So now let's add a subdivision surface modifier. So generate subdivision surface modifier, and you can see it, we're going to set this to 2, and you can kind of see the shape of it. Now the length is pretty long compared to, so maybe I'll scale this down so it's a bit more, compact and chunky. Right click and shade smooth. It's not looking too bad. We've got some weird artifact in here. I don't know what this is, but we can fix this. I'm sure of that. We're going to select this edge loop here, pull this in. Let's add another edge loop in here just to kind of help that along, and bring this face in and then kind of scale this in. That's looking a little bit better. And maybe pull this down a tiny bit. There we go. It's not as bad as it was as before. And then the top one, I want to kind of select this edge loop at the top that we created. This loop here. Oops. There we go. This loop, and I'll kind of pull this up a bit. There we go. And then again, we can see these cuts. So I'm going to select that inside face. Bring this in. So I'm going to pull this, scale this up a tiny bit, like so, and pull this in. I'm going to say extrude, so you can just click the extrude region if you want. Use that tool and just pull this down and scale it in. There we go. Now probably have to add another edge loop in the inside to kind of get rid of that lines. There we go. That'll do. Now maybe that's too deep. I don't know. I'm being a bit picky. We can. Oops. Make sure you select the move tool. Move that face up a tiny bit. There we go. Okay, so let's add the lines. Pretty straightforward. We're going to use the loop cut, and we're just going to split. So we've got a loop cut in 3. Then I'm going to Alt and Shift and select these lines that we just added, these cuts. And then I'm going to right click bevel edge, and we're going to create these nice thick lines. And then we're going to hold the left click mouse, hold down the left mouse button until we get this menu. Then we're going to just say extrude along normals and drag this in. And we've got this nice kind of carrot. Nothing too fancy, but we have a carrot. Okay, so next what we want to do is create the kind of root that kind of sticks out. So I'd say we're going to add another cylinder. Oh, so this will be our root. let's call this, rename this carrot. And this one I'll just name as root. Okay, and I can scale this down. I'm going to scale it down all the way. That's a bit more, that'll do. I'll start off with something like this. And what I want to do is edit mode, select this top face. So we're going to select this top face, move it all the way up, and scale it out really big. There we go. And then we're going to use the edge loop. We're going to add some edge loops in here on our cylinder, and we're going to scale these in so it's a bit more tapered. Like this, and then it kind of bulges out. So then you have this kind of big round end on the root. So with this top face selected, we're going to extrude up. So you can either press E on the keyboard to extrude, or you can click over here on the left side and say extrude region, and just drag this up and kind of scale this in. There we go. So S to scale as a shortcut. And then I'll press E as a shortcut, and then just right click and then move this up and scale. There we go. So now we've got this kind of bulb at the top, and then this kind of long stem here. And if I right click this and shade smooth and add a subdivision modifier, kind of looks like what we're going for. Now here you got some funny business. So what we'll do is I'm going to just add an edge loop in here and just tighten that up. There we go. And we have one. Now what we want to do is maybe go into the side view here, turn the X-ray mode on, and I want to just shift and drag this top part up slightly, so stretch it more. This bit can stay down here, and this can go up more. There we go. Let's turn the X-ray off. There we go. So now what we're going to do is add another modifier, and this will be the deform. That'll be a simple deform, and we want it to bend. Okay, so now we can bend this in all the directions we want. There we go, which is perfect. So now all we have to do is copy and paste this and move them around. So there's about four stems per carrot. So I'm just going to copy this, copy, paste, Control C, Control V. Then I'll move this one here. Let's look at it from the top. There we go. And copy and paste. Put this one here. Copy, paste. Put this one here. And of course we can scale them up differently. So we can, let's go into edit mode. So edit this. Perhaps this. Make sure we select only one at a time. So I'm going to edit this one, and this one will be, slightly smaller. And oops. Before you do that, make sure you have toggled the X-ray mode on, so you select those back faces. Scale this down a bit. Maybe this is shorter. And then this one here, maybe this one is a taller one. That's shorter there. So you have a variation. And then this one, so they're not all the same. Maybe this one's about the same height, just slightly different there, but there we go, all kinds of different ones. Now I can turn the X-ray mode off, and all we have to do now is change our deformer, with the bend. So one can be facing out this way, one's more standing up like this, and and then we can just change the rotation as well. So we can click on the rotation tool and just rotate these out so they're not all facing the same way. So maybe this one's facing out that way. There we go, and we have a carrot. Now we can probably tighten this up a lot more. So looking at it from above, it doesn't matter if they intersect too much. And I feel that they need to be a lot bigger. Let's bring them down and scale them up. There we go. Something like this, maybe a little bit smaller, but That looks okay. Maybe move this one up and out, just so you're happy with it. But I mean, this looks alright. There we go. So we've got carrots and roots. Now what I want to do is parent these. So I'm going to select all the roots and parent it to the body of the carrot. Right click, parent object. So now just it's parented to the carrot, so I can move the carrot around. And you know, we can place this in the ground or put it on the side or put it in the bucket, wherever we need to. So let's just quickly put material on this. New material. I'm going to change my shading mode, so the viewport shading mode over here. And carrot will be orange, of course. If you want a purple carrot, go ahead. And feel free to put whatever color you like. And then we're going to have green. Green roots. Boom. Let's get a nice green. Go. Maybe a little bit darker. There we go. And I'll apply the same green. I should rename that green roots. And I'll rename this orange as well. Carrot, orange. There we go. And I'll just make sure I apply the material to the rest of the roots. There we go. So now we have a carrot. Hey, it's looking good. So let's stick this to the side, okay? Because we're going to duplicate this carrot a couple of times and we can like change stuff on it. So let's kind of put our little patch of grass on the ground. So, which is just a cube, and you're just going to scale it up. Really simple. You can choose how big. It's up to you how large you want this. I'm going to scale this up. About here looks alright. Scale this down on the Z-axis. Boom. Okay. Now I'm going to press Ctrl A and apply this scale. And I'm going to use the same green material. So the green roots on this ground plane. Now I want to bevel the edges. So what I'm going to do is select the top half. I'm not going to select the bottom, just the top half. So I'm going to go to X-ray mode, select the edges of the top half. Make sure all these are selected. And then these sides, 3 and 4. I'm going to right click, bevel edge, and drag out. There we go. I want it kind of rounded off, so I'm going to add some segments. So it's nice and rounded. There we go. Go for like a soft look. And then I could shade smooth. There we go. Now the little bumps, they're pretty straightforward. I can just add a mesh, which will be a UV sphere. Okay. So let's make one, and then we can kind of duplicate the holes. So I'm going to right click and shade smooth this, and we need a cylinder as well. Okay. I'm going to drag that cylinder up, and we're just going to make sure this intersects into the cylinder. So the cylinder's kind of cutting into it. Now you can choose the radius of that cylinder. How big do you want, or you know, how big of a hole do you want for that carrot to sit in? This kind of looks okay, like so. I want it fairly deep. There we go. And then I'm going to select the sphere. I'm going to go to modifiers, and we're going to add a boolean. Now we want the difference, which will be the cylinder. Okay. And what we're going to do is apply this, and we can delete that cylinder. Now we're left with a hole in the sphere. Now if I go to the side view here, and then look at the X-ray, we don't really need these faces underneath, so I'm going to just go into edit mode and just reduce those, you know, it's unnecessary polys. You can just get rid of and delete those faces, and then I'll just go back into object mode. There we go, object mode, and we can go back to shading. I'm going to shade smooth that. Now the top here, kind of very jagged and messy. Let's see if we can shade auto smooth. Does that do anything better? A little bit better. Maybe we'll add a subdivision surface on here. Let's see what that looks like. A little, that looks better. We're just going to go into edit mode, and we're going to add the edge loop in the inside. One down here. Does it allow me to do it? It's really hard to see. Let's turn the X-ray off. No, it does not allow me to do that. So instead, let's select this face. So we're kind of learning together. So I assume this face here is the issue. So I'm going to move this face up. There we go. And I'm going to extrude down again. There we go. That's better. And then when we get to down here, extrude again. That solves that problem. Here is jagged, very jagged. And that could be just needing the edge loop on the outside here. But for some reason, it won't let me select that. So maybe I can select this edge here. Push this in. Scale this in. There we go. Can we select this edge loop? It's annoying that it doesn't select this edge loop. What about this edge loop here? Let's move this edge loop up. There we go. Let's scale this in. Apologies, we're learning. I'm learning, we're learning. Okay. It's not the best. I'm sure there's a better way of doing it. That's kind of annoying me. You know what? We can just delete that bottom place out of that. Boom. That looks better. There we go. Okay, so let's put a material on this. I spent way too much time on that. I'm going to say, what happens if I set this to 2? I didn't even change that to 2. And leave it at 2, at 1. Apply. Okay. I'm going to add the material to this. New. I'll call this soil. And the light brown. There we go. That belly down. There we go. And then we're going to place this. Maybe I'll squish it a little. I'm going to squish it a tiny bit. There we go. So it's not such it's not like a ball shape. But let's look at it from above and let's place this in our scene. I want it slightly bigger. There we go. Something like this. And let's create a grid. So we can just copy and paste and move this down. Copy and paste. Move it down. Copy. Actually, let's copy all 3 of these. Control C, Control V. And then Control C, Control V. There we go. This one I'll delete. Okay, and I'll delete this one too. There we go. Now we can have these at different heights. They're not all the same. And a little bit imperfect. Let's make it a little bit so it's not too perfect. There we go. Offset them a little. Now if we bring this carrot in, so what I'm going to do is actually join this carrot together. So I'm just going to actually, should I join it? Now I'll just Control C, Control V and put that there. So now I've got 2 carrots. How many do we need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 for the ground. So let's duplicate this again. Copy, paste. Copy, paste. That's 4. I'll select that again. Copy and paste. And that's 5. So we've got 5 carrots. And let's place them in the thing. You might want to scale them up and down, move them around. Something like so, like this. Oh, easier if we look at it from above. There we go. I'll grab this one. I'll just place them where they need to go for now. One here, so there's a hole, and then there's one in this hole. This one's kind of laying on the floor here somewhere. There we go. Go. And I'll rotate them so they're not all at the same rotation, because right now they all are rotating the same way. And because we have the modifiers, we can also change, you know, how these look so they're not all the same. Maybe this one's standing up and this one's more, you know, exaggerated. This one, so they're not looking identical. Scale this up, and this one too. Scale this up. Just rotate this one. Maybe this one's slightly tilted. There we go. Be tilted too. Maybe the other way. And this one maybe slightly forward. So it's not perfect. This one here, I can just lay it down on the ground on this here. So if I look at it from the side, boom, I drop this in, drag this down. Is it sitting on the ground? It is, but it's not in the right place. So now move this over here, boop, and rotate this over here. There we go. So it looks alright. So let's add the additional little patches of dirt. I might want to just offset this a little bit, so it's not, it looks too perfect. Select this carrot and this group, and there we go. Okay, and we're going to add another sphere. Sorry, it's taking me a while, and I do waffle on sometimes, and I do apologize. Okay, we're going to apply the same material to this little sphere. So material, it'll be the soil. We want the soil, and we'll bring it down halfway. Okay, and let's look at it from above. Boom. And we're just going to place them randomly. So Control C, Control V. I'm just going to move them. Maybe some V. Control C, Control V. And then we'll scale them up and down. After, that's not a problem. One up here. So we could scale these up and down. Maybe one here. There you go. So now I've got bits of little soil dirt, and then we can change, vary the height. So some can be tall, some can be small, really small. There we go. Different ones, different sizes. There we go. Play around with that. Let's create little pieces of grass. So grass, we can just use a cube, mesh, add a cube, then bring this over to the right so we can see what we're doing. If you hit the period key on your numpad, it will zoom in to that object. And we're going to add a subdivision surface to this modifier. Boom. Go to edit mode. And we're going to select this top face, drag this all the way up and scale it in. And then we're going to add the loop cuts. There we go. Change this to level 2. There we go. Nothing, we don't want too many slices. Yeah. Shade smooth. There we go. Shade smooth. We have a piece of grass. Now it doesn't look like anything fancy right now. So let's apply the grass shader to that. Or the green root, should I say? Just call it green. Use the green root. Same one. And we can of course scale this up and down, you know, to what we need. And let's also use the deform modifier on this. Generate. So deform. We want the simple deform, and it'll be the bend tool. So now you got this kind of grass. Maybe we're gonna make this tip a lot smaller. Scale this in. Select this edge loop here. Scale that in. There we go. Like so. Sorry, just got a message. What was that message? Ah, it's just notifications. Sorry. Anyway, copy and paste. Now, if I move this, okay, just slightly off, and then rotate this here, and scale this up, down, and change the, oh, make sure you got the right one. Then we can maybe bring this one up. And you get the idea. We're just going to copy and paste a couple of these. Control C, Control V. And I'm going to select that, rotate this down, scale this smaller. Maybe this is a small one. Again, paste this. So we just have little patches of grass. And then on this deformer here, you know, I want this one to scale more. Maybe this one too. Until you're happy with it, really. Maybe this one I want, yeah, to do that. Just keep on, you know, copy and paste. One more over here. I want it out here. So you're happy with the look of your grass. Now what I'm going to do is just, I'm going to join all of these. Or should I now parent them? I'm going to parent them. So I'm just going to parent it to this tool one here. So select this, so this, and this, and say join. Oh, not join, parent. Because join, then yeah, first I would have to apply all the modifiers. But this one I can just call grass. There we go. And then of course I can scale this down. And then I need say like 4 or 5 of these. So I'm just gonna drag this out. Control C, Control V. Control C, Control V. Control C, Control V. So we have a couple of these. There we go. And then we can just drag these by the parent. Okay, from the top. And start placing these where we need them. Or where you feel that it will work best. So I'm just going to place them around in the scene. Here, one here. Where's the other one gone? Over here. And then we can scale them, of course. Now, you notice that they're just hovering in the air right now. I'll make that one small. Bring this down. Bring this one down. This one's way out. Bring this one in. Take this so it doesn't look the same. Rotate this. Bring this down. That down in the ground. Yeah. Can make that smaller. Bring this one down. Boop. I'll leave that one as it is. Maybe just rotate it more. There we go. It's starting to form. We're starting to get this little garden, which is kind of cool. Now the bucket. So now we need to create a bucket. And then we put more carrots in. We're pretty much done. So at this point, let's go to our EV settings and just press ambient occlusion, and you'll see if we increase this. So now I'm going to do something extreme like 12. Well, it adds so much. It does add so much to it. Something simple like that. Looking nice already. Just turning that on. We have no lights in there, but you know you can change this environment. Don't forget the environment lighting as well. Entirely up to you. And then when we add some lights to it, it should look a lot nicer. And then, but yeah, I like the look of it already. I mean, it is a bit. Some of the materials are very shiny on the roughness. I mean, I would probably change that, but yeah, that's you can tweak those materials. What I don't like is when I copy the materials that it applies, it does a copy of the material too, which is a bit annoying. I'm sure there's a way around that. I just haven't really looked into it, and maybe I should look into it because I prefer to use the same material. Anyway, enough of me talking. Let's get on to making the bucket. Now, how can we make a bucket? Can we use a cylinder? And we move this up. Let's see. Maybe we've got too many faces on that, so I'm going to add the cylinder again. But before I commit to pressing anything, let's bring this down to like, I don't know, 26. Maybe 26. Yeah, 26 faces. Something like that. I'll move it over here nice and big. Maybe less than 26. Maybe 18 or 16. Let's see. Let's try the lower number, 16, and then see how that looks. Yeah, that looks better. That looks more like it. So got bigger chunks. And then let's select these faces. So what we're going to do is go into edit mode. So edit mode. We're going to select these faces on the outside. So all of these faces. So you can just alt click. So you can just do alt shift and also alt click, and it'll select the whole loop. And what we want to do is extrude the individual faces. So I want to say extrude along normals. Actually, extrude individual. That's what we want. Sorry, into extrude individual faces, and there we go. We've got this kind of bucket. Okay, there we go. Sorted. So we've got a bucket. It doesn't look like a bucket, but it's a bucket. It's our bucket. Let's make it slightly bigger. Okay. And we want to do is taper this bottom half in. So we want to select this face underneath. So we go to edit mode, select this face and scale this in. I'm going to grow the selection by Control Plus. No, that's too much. So it looks like I have to select these faces underneath. You could probably have went to the side view and just selected it, but I'll do it like that. That's fine. There we go. So kind of got this kind of tapered look on there. And we need to cut a hole in the top. So edit mode. We already have a sphere there. So all we have to do is say extrude along normals, bring this down, and then S, scale it in so it's not cutting into itself. And we've got a bucket. Hey, let's add some color to that. So new material. And no, there we go. Kind of go for like a cheap wood. There we go. And let's scale this down. Now you can add more detail to this if you want to add, say, additional mesh. So if you want to say add a cylinder, another cylinder, scale this up, bring this down, like so. Let's look at it from the side, it'll be easier. And let's position this. There we go. Scale this. So we want it to taper as well with the bucket. So select edit mode, select that bottom face, scale this in to that top face, scale that in a little bit. This inside, you can select that face. There we go. What I'm going to actually do is delete this top face and that bottom face as well. Delete that. So we're left with just the outer ring, like so. And in edit mode, I'm going to press A, Shift D, drag this up. We have the second one. Drag this up. There we go. And scale it out. And what I'll do, I'll just add a solidify modifier on that instead. So generate, solidify, and then add the thickness back in. There we go. Now we have a bucket. It's a low poly bucket, but sticking to the style that we've seen. There are some handles on here. I don't know if you want to create those. I'm going to leave that out, but you can add the handles on the bucket too. Let's add a material to this. Just go for a grey and then just say metallic. There we go. Now you can bring that roughness down if you want. And let's join these together. There we go. Now we have a bucket. Now we can scale this. Place it down on the ground. Boom. Let's look at it from the side here. There we go. And just shift it over into our scene. Maybe closer to this carrot. There we go. I feel like this carrot needs to be slightly bigger. There we go. And I also want to copy this. Oh, this. I want to copy this. Let's copy this one. Easier to select. Control C, Control V. Just move it over here. Now I want about 3 of these, so I'm gonna select all of that. Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V, and scale these different sizes. There we go, and stick them in the bucket. Boom. And it's just about placing them to make it look like this is a giant carrot. Maybe it's too big. There we go. Bring this one in. So I'll just adjust the scale and the size. There we go. And rotate them as well. They're all similar rotation, so maybe this one's more like this, and this one rotated. Yes, there we go. And we have almost complete our scene. Let's add the back plane, the plane. So we're just going to add the plane on the ground. Boom. Nice and big. Drag this down. That's our floor. And of course, we're going to finish with a material. Make this blue. You can choose whatever colors you want. I'm going to right click this, vertical split, and add a camera. Boom. Okay, there's a 0 on the numpad, home on the keyboard. So now this is what the camera sees. I'm gonna turn off all the gizmos, and so just having the camera itself. There we go. Actually, if you do want to make it easier, you can open here and go to view, and you can go camera to view. So now when you move this here, you can see the cameras move it. So now I can navigate this scene here and kind of place where I want the camera to look. I'm going to change some of the camera settings. So for graphic, and scale this in. There we go. Scale that accordingly. Now you can add your lights in the scene. So you can add like a area light, something like this. Move this up. Make it down here. Let's add on there. Just say 1500. There we go. Now you can see here the light's starting to work. Let's try something like 3500. And turn on this and bring the strength down a tiny bit. Here we go. Hopefully that was useful. Yeah, just play around with it, light your scene up until until you find how you want it to look. And play around with the lights, add multiple lights. Hopefully that was useful. It was a bit of fiddling. It was a bit of fiddling around. I was fiddling around with some of the shapes, like the soil, which I could have probably done better. But hopefully it was some use or some, I don't know, some help. I don't know if it was any help, but I'm gonna add the let's say 5000. Another one here. Let's add a different color. Therefore a greenish. Let's add a 50,000. Let's do something ridiculous. Ooh, there we go. Now this surface here is very shiny, and I don't want that, so I want rough. There we go. There we go. So yeah, feel free to play around with that. Maybe the green is too much, but you can have a warm color, cold color, bright color. Maybe I like the bright color coming in. But yeah, play around with it. If you want to go into cycles and do all that fancy stuff, you can do that. Make sure it's on GPU. It's a lot quicker. There we go. Even with an I've got the latest i9, it still completes. So yeah. Play around with the colors. Also the environments. So if you have your own HUIs, load them in. Enjoy your day, morning, evening, night. Thank you again. Okay, and bye bye.